I hope traders and investors alike were green today. We got a lot of stuff to cover, got a lot of charts to look at, so we're just going to talk about stuff as we move through charts to try to speed things up here. We're also going to cover a little bit about how some of these charts have played out and how money could have been made and the moves that we have gotten out of them. So we're starting with AMC as always. We got this symmetrical triangle here that we broke out of. We pushed up, pulled back, retested, which that's actually where your conservative trader looks to enter. They want to see the breakout, come back and retest. That's a textbook move with a nice push up. So you got signals here for a move down. You were outside your Bollinger Bands. When you pulled back in, you broke your 9. That also left you with a rounded top, breaking below your short-term moving average. I like to use the 9. And then pulling back, a retest with a little bit of modification, come down and basically retest it. If you extended this line, would put you right there just about to add it. Come back and retested it, pushed up, and that's how we formed our head and shoulders, and then we broke out of that, flagging down. Right now we're below our 9. We closed below our 9, but we're down here testing these May lows. Even though we've took them out, we're retesting that area for support. If we take that out, I would expect to move lower. Also, you can see a evening star candle pattern there. Not seeing much help in the MACD. Put the call ratio, we're at 96. That's actually neutral. So we have the oscillators for the NASDAQ. We were in the over 150 opening up at market open this morning. Right now we are at 49, might as well say 50. We're neutral. Same with the New York Stock Exchange. We were over almost 120. We're at 35, 36 now. So we are in neutral range. We have plenty of room to move in either direction. The SPX, at least we got back above this 200. We closed last week. We were worried about the 200 acting as resistance, and we were able to gap up and get above that. If the market does push here, watch your 9. Also seeing a change in character in that MACD. Look at that bottom line. So let's just keep an eye on that. We have some bullish and some bearish ways to look at the market tonight. SPX, we still have, this is our accumulation distribution line. It's actually a moving average that I use to smooth the lines out, because you can see it likes to move. It's a mover. This is a very important indicator for us. So you can see we're seeing a divergence here. Price is getting back. So if you look at price heading down, you can see the moving average pointing to the downward direction. So it's actually trying to get itself back in line, but will we get a move off of that divergence? That's the question. You can see the size of the moves we've gotten in the past off of that divergence. So it's not that we don't trade every day. We just know when to be aggressive and what direction is very helpful, obviously. You can see the dollar here. The dollar starting to put in a rounded top. We did push back up above those moving averages today. MACD trying to change character here. This is worth watching. Starting to try to put in a rounded top here. You can see the price comparison. This is the dollar, obviously. Black and white's the S&P 500. You can see when the S&P 500 was pulling back, the dollar was pushing up. They traded together for a while, and now that the dollar's up, you can see how it's hurt the S&P 500. If the dollar pulls in, I think you can pretty much should be self-explanatory there. If the dollar pulls in, the S&P 500 will rise. VIX, right back at that 35 level and rejection. Not surprised. It's where, all year long we've not been able to take that level out. And for me, when I first started trading, 50 was the norm for a time of fear. And now we can't seem to get above that 35. I did see an explanation that kind of leaned on the bond market for the reason why the VIX is doing that, and the explanation made sense. But I'm personally not going to try to explain it here. But it did make sense. So the bond market being screwed up right now could have something to do with why the VIX is just not trading right. You can see right now we are in a double, almost a triple top. We didn't quite touch there. We need to take this neckline out to confirm that, but that's showing that we may see a move down. And if you go back, put this in that gap. Crude, You can see the weakness here compared to the market. Definitely weaker than the market. You can actually draw your trend lines on that. Or advanced decline lines, you can see they're curling down. Apple, right into this downtrend here. We did take the 9 out and got pulled right back below it. Never confirmed. Did try to push up. You can see right into the 9, almost to that downtrend. So even if we do get above that 9, you have that downtrend right there. So we need to be careful with that. Actually, that's a 20. AMD, you can see this downtrend here on AMD as well. We did push up above the 9 here and got pulled back. AMD weekly, you can see the resistance level right here that we're struggling with. This 9's coming down, crossing the 200. Just it's been beat up pretty bad. Affirm, got this rounded top here we've talked about. You can see Affirm here. Also, we're going to see this in a lot of charts. We kind of got this rounded top here on the 15. ARK, I'm sorry, AA actually had earnings tonight. I believe it was a beat. And I do believe it's up right now. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on for tomorrow. We will have it on our radar. I honestly did not look at the chart. I did post some news about it in the earnings, but I didn't look at the chart yet. Amazon trading in this triangle here. We did break out at the very end of the day, but never really got a move off from it. You can see Amazon here forming, possibly forming a downward sloping inverted head and shoulders on the weekly. So that's something to watch. It has some time to finish forming this pattern if that's what it's doing. We're not saying it is at all. We're just pointing it out. AMC kind of got this rounded top action going on there. Just rolled right over. AMD, we had a nice move here at open. We actually thought the market may be trying to push with semis pushing, kind of leading the way. Then it just sold right off and kind of laid flat. The video was strong as well. You can see Amazon on the daily here. We gapped up above this 9 and 20 yesterday, and today we got pulled back right in between. The 9 and 20 is a bad place to be. You can see we closed under that 20. It's a bad place to be. I don't like to be wedged in between two moving averages on any time frame. Apple, big push at open as well. This thing was really strong at open and give most of it back. We had that on our radar. We're calling that out at open. You can see Apple here as well. So if you look back here at the June low, and you look at the June low on the S&P 500, this is the weekly chart of the S&P 500 as well. Same relative strength indicator. We just changed it from a line to candles to make it look a little more easier to identify candle for candle on the strength. And the moving average is the 9 as well. Since we follow the 9, you can see trading just about the same as the market here on the weekly chart, except for the relative strength from the June lows. You can see we never came back and retested the June lows at least yet, and you can see the market actually put in a lower low. So that just shows you that the relative strength that Apple actually has into the stock itself. So you got ARK. We're back below the 9 and this resistance level. So we may see some more downside there. Boeing's been showing a ton of relative strength. It's pushed up into the 9. It tried to take the 9 out today and got pulled back. Definitely been one of the stronger ones. It's another one that's been on our radar. Bitcoin still trading in this rounded top here on the weekly. This is it's rough seeing that price action jammed in between that little zone there. Bitcoin on the daily, still trading in this rounded top, breaking down, coming back down to test support. It's been really choppy. One thing about Bitcoin, I just want to take a minute. One thing about Bitcoin, is, let's go back to the weekly. So we pushed up all the way through here, and I'm not surprised. I didn't want Bitcoin to pull back, but I'm not surprised. Anytime I've seen something pop like this, it always gives it back. Just nothing in there, and eventually the excitement wears off and it gives it back. I'm not saying it won't go back up. In fact, if it does go back up, it's going to have some difficult areas it's going to have to battle through. But if it can get back above these areas, they're going to offer great support. So it's going to have to push its way through areas like this, but once you get above it, it's going to offer great support, especially for touch points in the future to actually add to those levels as well. Boeing, you can see this push here at open. This was definitely on our radar. Called it out a couple times, searching for flow on it as well. Build-A-Bear, we talked about this on Sunday. We did break out of this bottom ascending triangle, but it did pull back into the pattern. Actually meant to pull that chart off the list. Charge point. So we had this double top, and while we were waiting on the double top, we formed a head and shoulders pattern. Let's talk about this head and shoulders pattern. We have broken out to the downside. We pushed back up for a nice flag coming down. Obviously, I like it better below the previous candles, but with the proper candle line, I'd be looking for a trade there. Your MACD's pension here wanting to roll over, trading weaker than the market. So that's what we're looking for. If we're looking to trade something, just like if we're looking to trade something to the upside, we're looking for market leaders. If we're looking to trade something to the downside, the same thing. We're looking for just the opposite with downward relative strength. So we're looking for something trading weaker than the market. You don't go after something that's strong and look for a short. You know, if you want to try shorting something, find something that's weak, that more obviously moving into a downtrend. Remember the path to least resistance. Chewy, it's just choppy. Chewy's just a choppy mess there. You can see it right here at the end of the day. Chop, chop. But it did have some nice moves here on the 15, especially right here. You pushed up when you broke back down, breaking below that 200. That would have been a nice entry right there, not far from the 9. Consumer staples pushed up. It's trading exactly like the market right now. Crowd, we had this rounded top, broke out of that, flag back up, textbook move, flagging back up. Will we see more downside? We're below the 9. We're seeing a rejection. You have a gap here as well. Looks like, definitely check that on your intraday chart. Looks like it may be filled. It's worth keeping an eye on. CVX, we had this inverted head and shoulders here. We're trying to break. Well, we did break out of it today on decent volume, not great, but average volume. Broke up. Moving averages are opening up for the price. 9's trying to follow us up. Nice break. See if we open tomorrow. See where it opens and make sure we're above that level there. I wouldn't go after the dotted level. I'd want to be above this, the big bullish engulfing candle, the top level. You can see CVX, nice push here. Energy was on our radar today. DraftKings broke out of this channel. We did push back up into it, but we flagged off the 9 coming back down. So right now we're back below, which now was support. This is now be resistance again. And you can see ExxonMobil strong here as well. First Solar trading in this broadening channel. GME, we were trading in a symmetrical triangle, broke to the upside, got a fake out, pulled back in. That's a good chance that this thing's getting ready to move lower. Sometimes you get that false breakout and then crash right through the other side. Google, we're above the 9 and 20 here. So we got the Qs here. Same thing, we gapped up, pulled back, wedged in between that 9 and 20. Just a bad place to be. Qs 15 looks pretty flat. Qs weekly, you can see the June lows versus these lows. So like we were looking at Apple earlier, where Apple has not come down and put in a new low. The stocks in the market has, and it's just a sign of weakness. You can actually see that we're still below that weekly 200. We mentioned that this week as well. TLT just getting destroyed here. Bonds are just getting completely destroyed. IWM, once again, we have not come back to retake those June lows here. So that's showing some relative strength versus the market, but we're still trading in this bear flag. This has a wall of moving averages here, and you can see we pushed up to try to take them out and got rejected today. Still in the flag. IWM, you can see the relative strength line here, pointing up where the market itself is, pulled back and put in a new low. The IWM has not. So that's just some relative strength. IWM, you got this rounded top here if you look at it that way. Mara, for respecting this trend line, we pushed right up into this downtrend here and got rejected. MRK, healthcare has been stronger. I meant to put the XLV chart in here and I did not do that, but we have broken out of the moving averages, or broken out of the Bollinger Bands, and we got pulled back in today. See what happens. Look at your MACD leveling out a little bit. RSI rolling over. That's because we pulled back today. So the chart showing a ton of strength. See how it acts. See if we can get that 9 to catch up and see if we can take another leg higher. This level here will probably be fairly important. We need to get above that, clear it, move away from it. It would be nice then to come back and retest it. A little worried about this now crashing back below that level before that 9 gets here. Meta, I don't know what to say. We were calling for new lows, but I didn't mean for it to come down this far, honestly. Starting to feel bad. I was looking for new lows on it. Got this little symmetrical triangle. We broke out of that to the downside. We have pushed back up, trying to see some rejection here, but right now we're in between that 9 and 20. To me, that is no trade, just a no trade zone. Meta 15-minute. This was strong at open as well, but it gives you some signals of you got a tower top and a crash. MU, we've been talking about this little, what we call a tabletop here. It has kind of taken it out, but we've been watching this level, ended up pulling back today, gapping down, and we ended up pushing up. So, but you can see your 20 swooping down, your 9 swooping over. Once again, we got to get out of them moving averages. We got to have room to move, to freely move and make money. Microsoft here, MACD's trying to pinch as well, but weak back below the 20, between the 20 and 9. To me, that's just no trade zone. You can see at one point we tried to push and then it just give it back. You can see we put in like a little double bottom there, could never push up with any power. Just trading weak. Microsoft weekly, you can see we've definitely come down and took the new lows out here. Or June lows out. We are trading in a broadening channel here now. So make sure you have that drawn on your weekly chart. MRO. You can see this little flag here we're trading in. We tested it today. Look at your MACD pension there. Look at that histogram bar. Showing relative strength. Definitely one to keep an eye on. MU trading pretty flat here overall. We pushed it open, pulled back. That gives some nice moves here though. Your 200 was resistance. So Tesla had earnings. Didn't look super great. I haven't really got into the details. It didn't look super great. It offered a nice trade. So I was able to get $4 a share on a scalp. I traded it a few times today. Had some decent moves on intraday. Not big moves, but it did have some decent moves. But it did have earnings tonight. Big push and a big pullback. I was lucky enough to be able to catch that bottom. That has a lot to do with because we have a level right there, one of our Discord levels, and we bounced right off a level, and that was able, it was a nice trade. I got $3.88 off the trade with 1,000 shares. It was a really, really nice trade, and to trade it 4 times today with playing the action on it, just overall nice trade. So you can see the NASDAQ here into a downtrend. We did take this downtrend out with that candle, but we're back, right in between that 9 and 20. I mean, I don't know. I hate to sound like a broken record, but no man's land. So Netflix just gapped up on our earnings beat. That also offered about $4 a trade by 1,000 shares on this earnings play. Um, I didn't play this one heading up into earnings, though. I just traded the earnings play, but we talked about this gap and your 200 possibly, if we pushed, watch your 200 for resistance. It traded nicely, flattened out towards the end of the day, but we had a member who did really, really well with that today and made quite a bit of money on it, so that was a great job. You can see in the video we got this confirmed double bottom, and it's this thing performed our expectations and much, much more. Kind of flatten out down here, but once again, you're back in between your 9 and 20. To me, that's just a no trade zone. I gotta have room to make money. NVIDIA, strong push, just like AMD. This was on our radar, provided some trades at open, and then you can see how quick, it give it back here. Got a little tweezer top up there. NVIDIA on the weekly chart. You see last week we tested this resistance level, trying to bounce, but right now we're holding this candle line. We need to push up above that candle line. You can see Oxy pushed, pulled back, pushed. That's actually, I know it doesn't look like much. It wasn't a lot of range in there, but price action like that's a day trader's dream. There's no need to sit through the pain, trying to get a little more on the other side. I'm going to lock it in at the top and ride it to the bottom, and then head it back, hit it on a ride back up. So let's look at Oxy. Look at the performance Oxy's doing. Look at the S&P 500 daily, S&P 500 daily. It looks almost exactly. The only thing is the S&P 500 is on the bottom of the chart, and Oxy's on the top of the chart. But you can see how very close it trades with the market overall, except it, on the top of the chart. Palantir here, still struggling. You got a bunch, like a maze of moving averages. I need it to move away from that. I need room to make money. So if this candle opens up and pulls down, that would make a decent short play, but the candle's got to respect that candle line and pull down, or I'm going to be a little suspicious. You can see the rounded top here on Palantir on the 15-minute as well. Peloton back below the 9 here. I'm looking for a break below this candle before you got a little evening star in there, but I want to see a break below that candle before I try to play it. Plug, textbook flag, 3 candles flagging right up into your 9. Tried to take it out, got rejected, and big move down today. Textbook flag play right there. Got Rivian. So we did end up taking this resistance level back, but flagging off the 9, I would prefer to see that candle close red. Watch these EVs to move with Tesla tomorrow. So we got Roblox here trading in a slight downtrend there. This is actually a pretty decent looking chart here. We pushed up out of these Bollinger Bands. I don't like the candle setup here. Watch your 200 for resistance, your 50 support. We need to get these moving averages up there. SPX, this is the daily chart. See here, you can see that we are above the 9 and 20, so we're still good there, but a lot of these charts were not fortunate enough like that. CRM, we gapped down this morning, pushed into our resistance level, and got snatched back. That MACD is bullish there. Now you can see CRM here. It's actually, looks like it's coming back down to test the lows and on today's lows and after hours. Snow trying to push up here, but once again struggling between 2 moving averages. SoFi, you got a huge rounded top here, almost like it wants to put in a cup and handle. We're below this resistance level as well. It's also back below the 9. Chart just doesn't look good down here. SPY back above this support level, pushing up into the 9. SPY, even though we pulled back today, we're still holding that 9 and 20. So that's a good sign. MACD's cross there. You can see not a huge move, but we tried to push up at open. Got a nice move here on the 15. You can see basically your little tweezer top up here, pulled back, chopped around that 9, but when it lost that 9, got a nice pullback there. This is our trend chart. This is the daily time frame. You can see the short term did push up into the bullish zone. The medium term, midterm time frame is barely negative, but it is still negative. Square, we did break back below the 9 and 20 there. It's definitely showing some weakness. XLK in between 2 moving averages there as well, struggling with a downtrend. Again, Tesla weekly, trying to push off support here, coming off this. All right, so I talked to Discord about this. We got this little diamond pattern down here. We broke out of this yesterday. Ended up getting snatched back. So we are holding our 9 on the daily. MACD is trying to change character. RSI, look how oversold we were there, trying to push back up. Let's see what we do tomorrow on those earnings. You can see Tesla intraday here. Like I said, we got this big move tonight. Was able to get a nice trade on the push back up. We actually pulled right back to one of the Discord levels. It was a nice move to the downside at first, but was able to catch a little bit of recovery. Twitter here respecting the 9, trying to push up. Uber, you can see Uber's still trading in this little channel here, right into resistance. Looks like it did close above the 20, but we're right at that downtrend line. UNG in a downtrend. UNG with a big pullback, but I'm really not surprised forming the head and shoulders pattern. Even a little descending triangle there on the side. Upstart, we had this rounded bottom, thought we would see a push, got above the levels, and we're snatching right back down. Seeing a lot of weakness coming back in. Upstart, you can see the intraday chart. We actually took this support level out, which became resistance, but we were able to retake it. Looks like we're trying to get back below it in after hours. See where we open tomorrow. Wells Fargo, weekly chart, still trying to hold that 9 on the weekly. Wells Fargo 15-minute chart, you can actually see a decent move here. Tried to push up, but when we broke below the 9 right there, look at the size of the move on the way down. XLF, the financial sector. And, you can see we're above the 9 and 20 here, so it's in better shape than a lot of other charts. Watch that 50 if we do try to push. Watch the 9 to see if the 9 and 20 are going to try to turn up as well. And ExxonMobil breaking out of this little flag. Really nice play. We talked about this in pre-market. A very nice play there. Back to AMC. So that concludes our charts for tonight. I hope everybody has a great night, and I'll see you in the trading room.